Continuation of the Renaissance chapter, lesson 3. Previously, we discussed what is Renaissance, the time frame, the Renaissance ideas, and the Renaissance men, as well as art. In this lesson, we will talk about a slightly different idea called the Reformation. The Reformation came after the Renaissance. The Renaissance started with changing ideas about the human, about the way an individual thought about himself, that the person does not have to sacrifice everything he wants and he likes for the sake of God. After the people became literate, artistic, and intellectual, they started calling for the church reformation or change. Many wanted to reform or reshape or change the Catholic Church. Many believed that the church taxed people too heavily, and on the other hand, it spent a lot of money on doing nothing. One of the tasks that were not accepted by the people but was done by the church was selling indulgences. Some priests used to sell indulgences to the people. These were papers or certificates or contracts sold by the church to the people as a sign that this is an agreement that God will reduce punishment because of your sins. This is a picture showing that one of the church officials and a line full of people waiting to pay money in order to get their indulgences. And this is the indulgences itself, the paper or the contract that listed or said that this is an agreement from God that the sins will be removed in accordance for the money that you paid. In 1517, Martin Luther challenged the Catholic Church that to state the reasons of their actions. He pointed out all of the mistakes of the Catholic Church, the things that they were doing that were not accepted by the public, and they were wrong. And he challenged any of the officials of the Catholic Church to stand up and answer him back of their reasons of why they were doing this. This movement was known as Protestantism. It came from the word protest because they were protesting on the Catholic Church's actions. He believed that, or Protestantism believed that, the only faith is salvation. You can only be faithful to God with your actions, and if you did anything wrong, then you should do more good deeds or good actions for your salvation. He later on wrote a thesis of 95 arguments or points against all the Catholic Church officials. Later on, the Catholic Church arrested him and accused him of being a heretic and pushing the people or forcing the people to act against the Catholic Church. He was excommunicated by the Pope of the Catholic Church. When we say excommunicated, he was not allowed to be seen in any gathering, talking or communicating with people, whether it's face-to-face or by writing letters. This is Martin Luther. And please note that this is different than Martin Luther King because we're talking about the Renaissance, the Middle Ages, and Martin Luther King isn't born yet. This is the time where he wrote the 95 theses. He hung them on the Catholic Church's wall and he waited for their responses. This is the thesis from the inside. Martin Luther and his followers the Protestants, they believe that faith in Jesus, not good work, brings salvation. So you need to believe in God. Not only you need to do good habits to get your own salvation. That the Bible is the final source of truth about God, not priests, because priests claimed that they could talk to God and change some of the things that were listed in the Bible. New, different versions of the Protestants emerged later on after Martin Luther, and they had some similarities and some differences. Calvinism was the one branch that showed up after Protestantism, renamed after John Calvin, the leader. They agreed with Luther, but they added more ideas. These ideas were that God decides everything in advance. He includes who will go to heaven, who will go to hell, which is the idea of predestination, but that people should prove that they are worthy of their choice, so they need to live a good life and work hard. They also agreed that kings should not and could not run the church. It should be a pope, and a pope could not be a king later on. These Calvins, or the branch of Calvinism, later on became known as the Puritans. They believed in theocracy, or that the church should follow the government, that the church should not be the leader of the country, should not make up the rules, but the government should, and the church should follow the government. The church should be only a religious site. This is John Calvin. Now, we said that there were two main forms of religion back then. The Catholics, who supported the Catholic Church, and the Protestants, who agreed with Martin Luther, John Calvin, and they were known as the Protestants and the Puritans. Together, both of them, of course, disagreed on several ideas. There were bloody wars fought between them until 1648. Finally, after the war, the Council of Trent was formed to fix the Catholic Church. There was a truce between both parties, or both sides, and the truce was that a council will be formed, and this council is supposed to fix the Catholic Church in terms that please both Catholics and Protestants. The Catholic kings start sending missionaries to convert the Catholics to Protestants, the Protestants to Catholics. This is Pope Paul. He's the one who formed the Council of Trent in order to make or follow the peace treaty between the Catholics and the Protestants. They fought a 30 years war. This was the worst religious war in the time of Reformation.